Indeed, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here at KBC Channel 1. I am Nisi Imano. I am joined by Ann Wangeshi as our sign language interpreter for this bulletin. And the bulletin begins right now. We start in Muranga, where Transport Cabinet Secretary Engineer James Macharia has said the collapsed Muranga building was unsafe for human living. He spoke as the death toll in the tragedy rose to 6, with 2 more bodies retrieved from the scene, while 1 more succumbed to injuries while in hospital. 3 more people are still trapped, with efforts ongoing to rescue them.
Sunday morning, the Transport CS Engineer James Macharia visited the site of the building that collapsed in Muranga. The CS condemned the workmanship of the collapsed building, saying the matter is under review that will inform the action to be taken.
You cannot be guided by greed. And so we shall be taking some very serious action. As you know, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations is already started the process of hunting down whoever is concerned. Developer, you know, the professionals, the architects, the engineers, both at national government and county level.
According to the CS, even the adjacent building to the ill-fated one that is under construction should be demolished.
We have also instructed the National Building Inspectorate, the secretary of that department is here, to now fast-track the audits and bring down all buildings which are not safe.
So far, 5 bodies have been retrieved from the collapsed 4-story building at Sunstar Hotel, Gatanga, while 1 construction worker died in hospital, bringing to 6 the number of deaths from the accident. 3 people are yet to be accounted for. Macharia says they expect the operations to be completed by end of business today.
And so all the agencies here, from the KDF and all the other agencies, NYS, the National Police, the GAO, they are working together to make sure that that objective of finishing the job today is completed.
Be set aside to compensate and support those families. I know most of them had families, they had wives, they had children. It is time we think about them, because this is so unfair. It is so devastating to those members of those families.
Engineer Macharia says 4,000 buildings have been marked as unsafe and has urged the National Buildings Inspectorate to fast-track the inspection. For Lunchtime News, I'm Ruth Wamboy.
In Marsabit, leaders drawn from Marsabit County have condemned the 2 separate bandit attacks that left 12 people dead and 3 others injured in the county on Saturday. Led by the area governor Muhammad Ali, the leaders called on the security teams to beef up security in the area to enable the locals to go about their activities without tension. Muhammad spoke during the groundbreaking ceremony for a center of excellence at the Golbo Boys Secondary School in Moyale constituency.
The Saturday attacks in Marsabit that left 12 people dead and 3 others nursing injuries have been condemned by local leaders, who are calling on the security enforcers to up their game and bring the culprits to book. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony for a center of excellence at the Golbo Secondary School in Moyale constituency, the county boss pledged to hold meetings with the area leaders, stakeholders and security teams to find an amicable solution.
Watu wengi walikosa maisha na wengine walikosa mali. Hali hii imekuwa ikiendelea kwa muda sasa. Tunalaani jambo hilo na tunawahimiza jamii yetu ya kaunti nzima tufikirie amani. Lazima tukae chini, viongozi pamoja na security teams ya kaunti, tuone jambo gani tutafanya ili tukomeshe maneno haya.
Sentiments echoed by Marsabit Senator Hargura Godana and Moyale Member of Parliament Kalisha Wario, who regretted that pledges by leaders to end interclan conflicts that derail the development agenda when they ascended to power have not been fulfilled.
Tudumishe amani kwa sababu lazima tuishi pamoja, hakuna moja anaweza ndoa mingine, na maisha itakuwa tu nzuri kama kila moja anaishi na jirani yake.
Na tujue kwamba wale wanaumia ni maskini wananchi. Wale sisi tunastahili kuonyesha mfano mzuri.
The attacks took place in Manyatas in the area of Saganti Jaldeso Ward, the Gogicha and Kulbikalio villages in Saku constituency, where the attackers made away with 1,000 herds of cattle and 300 goat and sheep. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
And away from that, police in Busia have seized assorted contraband beers and sugar imported into the country from Uganda. 2 people were arrested during the raid at Marachi Estate, which police say has been used for a long time to hide contraband goods from the neighboring country.
Marachi Estate of Busia County. On a normal day, the owners of these contraband goods ranging from alcohol to sugar would have driven into the sunset to carry on with the unfair trade practice that has continued to weigh heavily on local manufacturers.
Pia hii tuko na watu wawili Jumatatu watafikishwa kotini. Tuko macho kama polisi na tutafanya hii kazi na itaendelea. Kama wananchi hawatasimamisha wenye kufanya hii biashara, bado tutapambana na wao. Wakati huu tunaelekea Christmas, mkiangalia stoki kama hii pombe ya Uganda, naamini kwamba labda wenyewe wanataka kuuza hii pombe wakati wa Christmas wauzie wananchi.
2 people were arrested during the raid, with the Busia County Police Commander Maxwell Nyaema saying Busia is prone to such illicit trade, with the contraband goods making their way into the country from Uganda.
Na tunaambia wananchi kwamba watupe information, maana pombe kama hii siamini kwamba inapita barabara halali, huwa wanapitisha nyuma kwa vichochoro hili wakuje kuuza hapa kwa baya Kenya. Hatujui bahari inatengenezwa. Hata hatuna habari labda imetengenezwa kwa kijiji na ikawekwa rebo. Na hata hiyo ingine inaua wananchi. Mimi naeleza wananchi kwamba pombe ya aina hiyo watu wasikunywe hiyo pombe.
Nyaima warning that more such raids would continue in the slums during this festive season, with those selling alcohol to school-going children put on notice.
Kama moja yao hii niko nayo inaitwa Uganda Warak. Pombe hii imefuma sana hapa Busia, ndio inauzwa paa nyingi katika hizi baada chareja. Na tumekuja kugundua kama polisi kwamba wakati kama huu watoto wamefunga shule, huwa wanauziwa na wanakunywa barabarani.
Nancy Okware, Lunchtime News.
And leaders from Tiati are rallying the government to initiate school feeding program when schools reopen in January next year. The leaders say such moves will enhance retention of pupils in school. Led by Tiati MP William Kapket, who was speaking during the unveiling of new classrooms of Korosi Secondary School in Talgul Bay Ward, they said that the area has been faced with a myriad of challenges ranging from food and human insecurity, which has affected the quality of education. Sentiments that were echoed by Churo Amaya Ward MCA Ameja Zalemoi, who reiterated that school enrollment in Tiati is now heading to 75% and the government should intervene.
School feeding program, hawa watoto wataenda tu na wataenda kufanya ile biashara nyingine yenye Wakenya wengi hawapendi. We want to retain them in school. We want to turn them into scholars. And the only way is to retain them in school through school feeding program.
Miradi ya mitigation measures ya kusaidia drought na enrollment and retention of children ni hapa Korosi, kule Amaya na kule Silale na Tirioko. So na tunataka kusi serikali kupitia hiyo wizara ya devolution kwamba ifikapo mwaka huu tukianza hawa watoto kutoka mahali kama hapa, wapewe chakula ya kutosha, wajengewe, wachimbiwe maji na KDF, waletewe misaada ambayo itasaidia retention of children, kwa sababu tukielekea msimu wa kiangazi kuna uwezekano kwamba watoto watabaki nyumbani.
And we cross over to Thika, where schools in Thika will now enjoy continuous supply of water after receiving 10,000-litre water tanks donated to them by area MP Patrick Wainaina. Wainaina says the town's outdated water supply system cannot sustain residents and schools in densely populated estates such as Makongeni, Landless and Kiandutu.
Speaking when he handed over the water tanks, Thika MP Patrick Wainaina said water rationing led to the exploitation of residents by vendors.
We have Kameno River, we have Viva River that's coming from Muranga, we have Chania River. With all these rivers, we can do incredible amount of water collection. And this water can even be used down Machakos and Ukambani area.
The lawmaker said residents get only 20% of the total amount of water supplied in the area.
Let us get organized. Let us have governments that are serious, that they need to know that that wananchi are more important than the few ragos here and there. They are more important than what they can get by controlling the water companies. And the idea is, when everything is flowing properly, is flowing well, it is Wanjiko who benefits. We are here for Wanjiko.
He urged the water agencies to invest heavily and make the resource available, since the region is endowed with some of the biggest water sources in the region. Yusuf Hilo, Lunchtime News.
Now on to some wonderful news for our Pwani FM listeners. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation affiliate radio station Pwani FM has made a maiden trip to Taita Taveta County on a Meet the People tour. The Mombasa-based entertainment powerhouse recently expanded its reach by launching a frequency in Taita Taveta County. Now broadcasting on 103.7 in the region, Pwani FM has vowed to keep the people of Taita Taveta entertained, informed and educated through its award-winning programming.
The roadshow, which was filled with pomp and color, began in Voi Town before heading to Mwatate, Unanyi, Bura Mission, Bura Station and Taveta. Pwani FM presenters mingled and danced with their fans. Pwani FM manager Maximila Walu said the roadshow was aimed at strengthening the newfound relationship with the listeners in the county of Taita Taveta.
Tumeweza kufurahia kujumuika na wasikilizaji wetu na tunawaambia tu enyini wedu, na tutazidi kuwapeperushia vipindi bomba sana, na tutawaletea habari za kuaminika na watapashwa vilivyo, watahabarishwa vilivyo, na tunazidi tu kusema kwamba waendelee kutegea Pwani FM, kwani Pwani FM ndio nyumbani.
Albeit briefly, fans finally put faces to the voices behind Pwani FM's award-winning programs.
Nimefurahi sana leo tumekutana na wasikilizaji wa Taita Taveta. Kusema kweli tuko tumefika, tunapata simu kidogo tuko hatujui kama kweli tunasikika. Lakini leo tumefika, tumejumuika nao na tukajua kweli Pwani ni Pwani FM. Station ni Pwani FM. Hizo nyingine tunazita polling station.
Tumeweza kufika baada ya kuona kwamba tunasikika, lakini ni vizuri tuweze kufika ili kwa wasikilizaji wetu pia waweze kutujua ni kina nani hasa wako nyuma ya bomba. Unajua si kawaida siku zote unaweza kujua, unaweza kufahamu mtangazaji wako ni nani.
Fans were treated to their favorite tunes and awarded merchandise.
Ukipata unatoka.
The road show wound up in Taveta Town. For Lunchtime News from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
And elsewhere, Kenya High Commissioner to Uganda, Kiema Kilonzo, has launched his candidature for Kitui County gubernatorial seat. Speaking during the ceremony held at his rural home of Kavalula in Kitui East constituency, the envoy said he intends to contest the seat on a Wiper ticket. Kiema will face former Kitui Senator David Musila and former Kitui Governor Julius Malombe in the bid for Wiper Party's ticket.
Former Mutito MP Kiema Kilonzo, currently Kenya's High Commissioner in Uganda, is the latest entrant in Kitui gubernatorial race. The ceremony, attended by 5 delegates from all the 40 wards in Kitui County, turned into a platform to critique Governor Charity Ngilu's performance.
Kwa hivyo nawaambia watu wa Kitui, leo tumekata kauli. Nimesema kwamba kuanzia leo mimi napatiana barua yangu ya kutoka kazi kama balozi, ndio nije tukifika tarehe 9 mwezi wa pili nije kuwania kiti cha gavana wa Kitui katika chama cha kitaifa cha Wiper.
Kiema Kilonzo declared his interest to participate in the Wiper Party nominations, where he will face off with former Senator David Musila and former Governor Julius Malombe.
Sisi ni wana Wiper, tukae pamoja. Wazee, nyinyi mmekuwa na muda wenu. Shikeni kijana chipukizi Kiema Kilonzo, ndio mimi nitoe huyu mama.
Kevin Washira, Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, scholars and researchers have been urged to make good use of libraries in a bid to minimize over-reliance on the internet. The Kenya National Library Services chairperson, Noah Katanangala, says the online articles and publications may not provide enough information required by scholars in various academic disciplines. Speaking while presiding over the opening of a library in Awendo, Migori County, Katana said the total dependency on the internet has created information gaps. He lamented that majority of Kenyans have stopped visiting libraries, therefore narrowing their information depth.
To encourage people to be able to read, and therefore this facility, it has rich collection of books in all academic fields and as well as leisure. Once they leave Standard 8, once they leave Form 4, the only thing they read is magazines.
If you wanted to be a professor, you can still be serious and make it become a professor. So make good use of this facility that is here to advance your knowledge in whichever field. So when you read, you get knowledge, and knowledge, as we say, is power.
And just an update on one of the stories that we had run earlier about the Muranga building. We are told that one person has been retrieved alive and has been rushed to the Thika Level 5 hospital. On that note, we do take a very short break, but we'll be back in a bit. Stay with us.
We take it on at the right time.
Honorable Musalia Mudavadi.
The Honorable Mutahi Kagwe.
Chief Justice Martha Karambuko.
This is KBC, is the voice of Kenya.
Asking the right questions.
I don't know how it made you feel as speaker who is presiding over a house where members can be compromised with 10,000 shillings.
We keep our guests comfortable. A mission to ensure our audience gets a complete story.
For a few hours or so, I thought this is it. My end has come.
If really we want an end of this pandemic, we must fight.
Our goal, to tell it as it is for the benefit of our viewer.
And I'm sure we will have good discussions.
All right.
That will make probably your viewers understand KDF better.
With 21 radio outlets.
During a live interview on KBC TV, Chief of Defense Forces General Robert Kibosha.
Jaji mkuu kwa mara ya kwanza katika mahojiano yake ya kipekee na runinga ya KBC Channel 1.
And 2 TV stations covering over 90% of the entire country. The message always gets home. KBC, the home of on-air TV interviews.
有一段故事，建筑一座城堡，
just like you, but stop crying. Your eyes are swollen like peaches. All right, I'm leaving. Bye. Huh?
Who was she? I saw a woman cleaning here. I thought you'd hired her.
Ting Huan, don't you think this is unfair to me? It's done. Yeah!
有一段故事建筑一座城堡，回忆放进去后就不再打。
I know not his God, neither will I let his people go.
You have not obeyed the Lord.
This night, the Lord our God will deliver us from the bondage of Egypt.
Welcome back. You're watching Lunchtime News. Thank you for staying with us. Let's now shift focus to politics, where Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture Peter Munya says Kenyans need to make wise decisions in the upcoming 2022 general election, especially when electing leaders in the topmost positions. Munya has also challenged political leaders not to mislead the electorates, but instead give them a chance to make their own choices of the leaders they want. Meanwhile, women from Masai County in Kajiado County say traditional beliefs remain the biggest hurdle for women seeking elective positions that has, in effect, significantly reduced the number of women aspirants.
While addressing tea farmers in Gatundu during a Thanksgiving ceremony for Kenya Tea Development Agency National Chairman David Ichoho, CS for Agriculture Peter Munya said that the buck stops with the electorates in electing leaders.
Kura ni yako, wewe utaamua. Sisi kama viongozi, sisi tunakuelekeza, tunakuambia tukipitia hapa tutapata shida zaidi ya zile tuko nazo. Ingawa tunaambiwa tutapata, lakini tukiona sisi tunaona vile dalili, tunajua dalili ya mvua ni nini.
Munya, however, took a swipe at political leaders whom he says are led by selfish gains.
Mkitaka turudi pande hiyo, mkitaka tuelekee hiyo election, tuweke watu wa matapeli kwa serikali wasimamie, na tumeona na tunawajua.
CS Munya's call was separately echoed by Kapenguria MP Samuel Moroto, who called on Kenyans and political leaders to conduct peaceful campaigns ahead of the 2022 general elections. Meanwhile, women in Kajiado County are strategizing on how to increase their numbers in leadership. According to them, retrogressive cultures that subjugate women to their male counterparts have undermined their quest for elective leadership positions.
Hiyo mambo ya uongozi kwa sababu walikuwa wameitoa katika desturi yao na kutenga kama ni jambo la wanaume peke yao ndio wanaopewa, inakuwa ni ngumu sana. Tunataka at least Kajiado County tuwe na elected senator, at least tuwe na elected MCS, na at least tuwe na elected MPs.
Through an initiative spearheaded by girls' rights activist Purity Sein, the women are now seeking to ensure men embrace women leadership.
And I urge ourselves that we support each other. Because you find that once you are elected, for the few that have been elected, we have not seen them building foundations of girls. We want them to see them empowering the girl side.
Kajiado has no woman elected MCA in the 25 wards. Kajiado East MP Peristo Biko is the only elected woman leader, but they are rooting for more seats. Kamche Menza for Lunchtime News.
On to some sporting news. 2 goals from Gabriel Martinelli helped Arsenal sweep past an injury-hit Leeds at Elland Road to secure their 3rd successive Premier League victory. The match was the only English Premier League game played last night after 5 games were postponed due to a surge in coronavirus cases in England. In other stories, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation journalist Beatrice Gatonye-Ngetich has officially joined the gospel ministry. Gatonye launched her 3 singles in a colorful ceremony attended by family, friends, renowned gospel artists and colleagues. Our reporter Wycliffe Okech attended the launch in Eldoret and filed the following report.
Kenya's gospel scene has a new entrant. Not just any other, but KBC's own Beatrice Gatonye-Ngetich. The Darubini news presenter announced her arrival in a colorful ceremony in Eldoret town on Saturday. Gatonye, as she is commonly referred to by friends, says the dream she has had since childhood has eventually manifested.
It is a lifelong dream that I have carried in my life, in my heart for a very long time. And I would say that I thank God that today I have launched my 3 singles, and I believe this is the beginning of many beautiful songs that will be coming your way in terms of praising God.
Her prime objective is to use her God-given talent to touch the lives of believers and unbelievers and shower blessings upon them.
I'm not the kind of a person who will pick a microphone and stand in the pulpit and preach word after word. But I can do this in a very beautiful way by bringing my songs to you, and depending on how God speaks to me, this I will do by making sure that I bring the gospel to you.
Beatrice is adamant that the daunting task of balancing between her newly launched gospel ministry and the already sparkling journalism career will not be a problem.
This is a different venture. This, I will always be doing it when I have my free time, because number one, I have to work. And then another thing, I have to serve God, because I have a talent that I need the world to feel, I want to share with the world. When I'm on my free time, when I'm on my off days, I'll go and record my music. And then again, when you want to write these songs, sometimes you wake up at night and write. You don't need to be at work to do that.
To wish her the best of luck were friends and colleagues, led by revered gospel artist Ruben Kigame.
This is my commitment to you, and this is why nimekaa mpaka saa hii kukuambia nitakushika mkono.
Ni mzuri kuimba, sababu mimi si ate alitoa pale ingine, alitoa kwangu.
Say we are going to pray for her, we continue to pray for her, we are going to support her as her sisters, and we are going to pray for her, and we believe her life will not remain the same again.
Ni kitu ilikuwa ndani yake, na sasa juu ameshapiga hiyo hatua, na muombea mema na Mungu amzidishie.
It's a blessing, and I want to wish her the very best, even as she goes on with this journey. And this is just the start. I'm so sure she's going to do mighty and great things.
Today, officially, I want to release you to the world, to go and preach, to go and give.
Beatrice says a lot is in store for her fans.
I'm gonna make sure that you come to my channel, YouTube channel, you will find content that will be so fulfilling, that when you come there, you will find content that will heal your life.
For Lunchtime News, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Congratulations are in order for our Swahili news anchor Beatrice Gatonye. We wish you all the best going forward. And now, Christmas came early for over 2,000 less fortunate families who received food donations from the Ananda Marga Mission in Mountain View Estate. The beneficiaries drawn from Kawangware, Kangemi and Kiambu, mostly mothers, kids and street families, turned out in numbers early Sunday to receive the food donation as they had something to celebrate. Ananda Mission, which is a religious organization, has been giving relief food to families from informal settlements for over 10 years and has been in Kenya for the past 100 years.
So this is my feeling as we live like a neighbor. So if a neighbor doesn't have food, we must give food. And as a godly family, God is our father. We all are his children. We all are brothers and sisters. So as a family spirit and as a spirit of the society or as a spirit of the missionary, we feel that anybody, whoever will come, they must go with the food. Even we are trying to acquire some land in Machakos County or some other county so that we can reach our service to the maximum number of people.
And that's all the time we had. I trust you have been adequately informed. A lot more news will definitely be coming your way at 7 and also at 9 p.m. in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you so much for your time. I am Nisi Imano. Our sign language interpreter has been Anwangeshi. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
As we move on, make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful, we are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.
The International Day of Persons with Disabilities is annually celebrated on the 3rd of December. This year's theme was Leadership and Participation of Persons with Disabilities toward an Inclusive, Accessible and Sustainable Post-COVID-19 World. In this episode, we highlight how the day was celebrated. Welcome to Able Differently. My name is Jane Theuri.
We're differently abled, differently.
As the key players in the making and implementation of policies regarding the welfare of persons with disabilities, the government was not left behind in marking this great day. The event was held at the KICC and the chief guest was His Excellency the President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. Let's see how it went down.
Kenya has always been among the many nations in the world that commemorates the International Day for Persons with Disabilities that is marked annually.
This day aims to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize resources to support for dignity, rights, and well-being of persons living with disabilities. More importantly, it gives an opportunity to persons living with disability to tell their story, celebrate their achievements, capabilities, and demonstrate clarity of their potential.
It's been 3 years since the International Disability Alliance, the government of Kenya and the government of the United Kingdom collaborated to host the first Global Disability Summit. And it's been 29 years since the first commemoration of the International Day for Persons with Disability. In 1992, the United Nations General Assembly established the International Day for Persons with Disability with the aim of advancing disability rights and also protecting the well-being of persons with disability.
For the first time in the history of marking this day, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta graced this year's event.
We renew our commitment to make Kenya a more free, fairer,
and equitable society for all our citizens, and more so for the estimated 918,270 Kenyans currently living with disabilities.
I want to thank the President even coming to grace this occasion, because it really means a lot. If the executive is supporting persons with disabilities, support for persons with disabilities begins from the very top, and then it trickles to other sections.
With the theme Leadership and Participation of Persons with Disabilities towards an inclusive, accessible and sustainable post-COVID-19 world, the President pointed out some of the milestones made by his government.
I take this opportunity to congratulate the Ministry of Education, who after my intervention acknowledged the fact that persons of disability needed to be given a fairer chance in terms of our national examinations, and this now has been implemented. I had the privilege as President to appoint 2 persons living with disabilities to our Court of Appeal, our second highest court, and many more across the length and breadth of our public service. The pass-out parade of the National Youth Service, I was happily informed that one of their best drill instructors in Gilgil is a person living with albinism. So this is wonderful. Furthermore, our Parliament boasts a record number of persons living with disabilities, a majority of whom hail from my party. Indeed, across our political spectrum, political parties have made deliberate efforts to appoint persons living with disabilities to key positions, in addition to prioritizing their nomination for elective contests. I also appeal to county governments to consider waiving the cost of assessment of persons with disabilities in gazetted hospitals, which is a requirement for registration. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Kenyans, I conclude by calling on all Kenyans to celebrate the exemplary work of all institutions and persons involved in promoting the well-being of persons living with disabilities. Their enormous sacrifices affirm our national creed that we are one people made greater by our diversity.
The United Nations Fund for Population Activities, UNFPA Kenya Country Representative Adehola Alajide applauded Kenya in efforts made to get the right data for persons with disabilities.
Permit me at this point, on behalf of the United Nations, to acknowledge the leadership of the government of Kenya in taking forward some of the commitments that have been made. I would want to mention that the 2019 Population and Housing Census integrated the Washington Group questions, which was a step towards achieving the data disaggregation commitment made by the government of Kenya.
The President also gave directives to different government bodies in a bid to ensure full inclusivity and removal of barriers for persons with disabilities.
In order to support these initiatives, I today direct the Ministry of Health to fast-track representation of rehabilitation services at all levels of our healthcare delivery system, including policy and the universal health coverage. I also direct the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education to ensure progressive increase of the human resource for rehabilitation at both national and county levels, and to offer support to institutions of higher learning to develop capacity for training of rehabilitation personnel. We are, as a government, undertaking to review the Persons with Disability Act 2003 to align it with the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and to bring it into sync with the current realities. This process which began in 2018, has taken far too long. And as such, the proposed bill is yet to be enacted. So today again, I direct agencies, including the Attorney General's Office, the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs, to hasten the process so that Parliament can enact the new law in the life of the current Parliament.
He applauded Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology for their efforts in building capacity development in rehabilitation.
I want in that regard to take this opportunity to applaud the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology for taking the lead in capacity development of rehabilitation personnel with an annual intake of 150 students pursuing degree in rehabilitation-related courses. I also recognize the university for committing 10 acres of its land to build the proposed National Center for Excellence in Assistive Technology, the first of its kind in Africa. Once established, the National Center for Excellence in Assistive Technology will provide much-needed training, research, and innovation, as well as manufacturing and distribution of assistive technology.
During the event, the President launched a status report on disability inclusion in Kenya 2021 and the National Council for Persons with Disabilities Digital Identification Card.
I am indeed pleased to note that the system is real-time and it will indeed address the various gaps experienced with the current registration system, which locks out many persons with disabilities due to its weak approval and verification process. The current system does not provide adequate socio-economic data on persons with disabilities, which is critical in planning as well as the allocation of resources. In the new system, the reporting structure has been enhanced, and the system will also offer a new generation disability identification card with security features that will be able to deter fraud cases. To facilitate wide access.
The key issues that he mentioned that is very important is registration of persons with disabilities. It has been really a tedious and harrowing moment registering persons with disabilities, and you'll find that some people with disabilities who are deserving to be registered are not registered, one because they don't have the money that is required to pay for assessment. But today the President directed that all government hospitals that are registered should not actually register to do assessment, should not actually charge on assessment fee. It should be free and free. And he also mentioned that registration